Hello, and welcome to the Weeder Life podcast. I'm your host, Erica Weederlight, and I am the CEO and founder of Weederlight. I help humans who feel inadequate, broken, self-conscious, and shamed around their sexuality to reclaim their aliveness, their power, and to have a renewed relationship to pleasure while preparing themselves to feel hella confident to date others and themselves. AKA, I'm guiding people to live their #best lives. I have to give you a fair warning. I do unfortunately swear like a drunken sailor, so if you do have little ones by you, just be sure to pop in some earbuds. Alright friends, let's buckle up and let's rock it to this week's episode. Problems, I love diagnosing my problems. I love diagnosing my problems and making things chaotic. Help! I love it. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. I'm not feeling 22 because I consistently love to diagnose my problems and stir and diagnose. How about you? Oh Lord. But in all seriousness, I really wanted to come on today to talk about problems and dissecting our problems and diagnosing our problems and stewing with the problems because I don't know, I love to talk about it. I love to make stories about it. I love to diagnose myself and say, oh my God, it makes so much sense I have this problem. When I was 14, I ate a ham sandwich, and because I ate the ham sandwich, then, I just love to create all of the tales of Sweeney Todd. So I was like, okay, hi. This is up and present in my life. I think it's appropriate that we talk about this with the peeps, with the party people. And it's funny because, I've been working on this recently. I was working with a coach in a few mastermind and groups, Julia Wells, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but her whole theory is like, make it easy, make it easy, make it easy. And it was real fucking hard to make it easy because I know for me, it's more comfortable. It feels more safe. In actuality, it's not. But my brain and my body think like pain and chaos and making it hard is safer. And so when I was working with Julia, I was like, I found safety in making it easy. Like, what if we made this easier? What if we made this more pleasurable? What if we decided to go to a more flow state versus a chaotic state? And it was wild. I was like, this is an option? This is beautiful. And then I so geniusly slipped back into chaos because that's a pattern that I'm familiar with. And one day last week, I think it was last week, I got totally bamboozled in the best way possible, but a little bit of a spiritual smackdown. And the smackdown happened. I'm very blessed. On Thursdays, what I do is I have coaching clients, and then I have a mastermind that I'm part of, and I also have a one-on-one business coach. And I was both of them totally just mirrored back the fucking chaos that I'm creating. I'm like, all right, enough. But I started with my business coach that day, and my business coach so lovingly pointed out, like, hey, there's not really, like, you're really creating problems from the sky. And I was like, God damn it. And she highlighted, and I've known this, but it's something when someone really sees you and says it. And she's like, you're just addicted to pain and suffering, and you're addicted to making it painful. And that's true. I don't know about you, but I usually reach for making it painful, making it hard, creating a little bit of chaos. We're dramatic. We love to stir the pot a little bit. And I was like, exactly, like I'm addicted to making it hard, which is why when I was in the flow of making it easy, it felt so good. It felt beautiful. I felt safe. I felt surrendered. But part of me was also like, oh, like my ego was a little bit like, whoa, like what do we do about this? Like, are things going to go So I easily, geniusly slipped back into this zone. So that happened with my coach, and she's kind of like, you're really addicted to pain and suffering and making it hard. I'm like, noted. And then I had my mastermind call. And we did two things in the mastermind call. There was a little bit of a meditation, and then there was a Q&A session. And the meditation was kind of like going to our higher selves, especially, if we have businesses in this world, and like, who is that person, right? Like, who is that person? Essentially, who do you want to be? Who do you want to show up as? And so I saw this version of myself, just such a bad bee. And we're doing this meditation, and then we talked to this piece of ourselves. And this piece of myself said, why are you making it so hard? You're obsessed with human things. And of course, we're in, reality. We are in a human world. So of course you do have to do human things like pay taxes. And, like there's things that happen that we have to focus on. But this piece of me was like, you are obsessed with the human things, like the nitty gritty. You're obsessed with making it hard. And it's genius because it takes you away from your mission. It takes me away from what I'm really meant to do on this planet, even if it's just to fucking enjoy myself, but it was saying like you use pain and suffering almost as a way to avoid, like how someone may use food or alcohol. I know food could also be my drug of choice, like using food, using work to avoid. And for me, that's avoiding enjoying life. And I was like, God damn it, higher self, I know. And so this part of me was like, you could make this so much easier. You could make this so much more joyful, but you're making it tough on yourself. And so I was like, all right. I got it. And then we transitioned into the Q&A piece, and I don't even know what my question was, to be honest. And my coach was like, I'm going to stop you right there. I think it was like I was really just trying to push for a question, or like push. And she's like, you realize you're like pulling problems out of thin air. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, this is not even like a thing. She's like, you're making a problem that's not a problem. And I was like, damn it. Because I wanted, I have this need, I don't know about you, that like I want to fix something. There's something I want to fix. And it's funny because I've actually noticed this, especially when I started coaching years ago. And when I was a coachee getting coached, I was like, okay, I know, and the same for therapy. Like, I have a session today. What am I going to bring? And it's a little bit of a scarcity story. You're like, I'm paying for this session, so I need to get something out of it. I need to really bring the meat. And my coach was like, what if you came here, obviously when you do have problems, like let's, all kumbaya together and figure it out. And, of course, let's hold space for you for it. But like, what if today you just celebrated? What if today we just highlighted what's going right? And I was like, no, like I had such a guttural reaction to that, because I was like, there's problems to fix. And I don't know about you. Again, I keep saying that because I'm like fucking Taylor Swift. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. But I think there's something powerful for me when I'm given the opportunity. I'm getting a little bit emotional. When I'm allowed to fix problems, I feel powerful. Ooh, tears, hi. And I don't know if this resonates for you, but for me, I am the baby in the family. I was diagnosed with a learning disability, and they really, school really highlighted that. They're like, and so I always felt like, and I've talked about this before, but because they very much highlighted, like, you have a learning disability, I was like, okay, then I'm going to play up my other strengths. Like, I'm going to schmooze with the teachers. I'm going to be funny. And I wouldn't change it for the world, because I think that informed so much of who I am. It's made me an understanding person. It's made me compassionate. It's made me play my strengths. I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but at lunchtime, I was like, you're fucking drunk if you think I'm gonna run the mile. Like, I just straightened my hair. There's no way she's run the mile. Especially, it's just not happening. And so I remember there's some gym teachers I love. I'm like, let's be serious. I'm not doing this. And they're like, Weeder light. And I'm like, all right, we can schmooze. I'm a theater person. I could sing you, whatever show I'm in. I remember at one time I was in Chicago. I'm like, I could sing you all that jazz. I could bring you snacks, and so I wouldn't change that for the fucking world. It's made me a people person, but something that's come of that is obviously insecurity. Because when you think, oh, I'm so misunderstood, I'm so dumb, something's wrong with me, that's the thing that you lean on. And so for me, I felt really powerful when I could fix problems, especially in my family, because I'm the baby and my siblings are both very smart. And no one said this is the story that I took on, but, oh, they're so smart, I'm the stupid one. So when I could fix a problem, or as simple as I could book a trip for us, or, I could, do this or this or this, it made me feel powerful. It made me feel like, oh, maybe I'm not stupid, which was beautiful. I remember when I first started solving problems. We've started problem solving, for years. But I think I got like addicted to that because I played on the story so long. Oh, I'm stupid. No, I'm so silly. Oh, I'm just the funny one. And then I think probably by the time I got to college, maybe a little bit after, I was like, ooh, I'm a little bit addicted to solving problems. Because then I felt like a badass. Like, I'm a boss bitch. I'm a boss bitch. Yes, let me call this person. Let me do this. Let me make these appointments. Because I felt power where I never felt before. And that was great because part of me needed that confidence because I felt like, oh, I can't. I'm too stupid. I'm not good enough. So that actually was a beautiful gift that I allowed and gave to myself. Like, oh, no, you're not. Like, you are good enough. You can handle problems. You can do it. But it got a little twisted when I was searching for problems. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Because I was searching for problems to fix because every problem I fixed gave me a little hit of self-worth. So I was searching for problems so I could fix them, so I could have a hit of, telling the piece of me that you're stupid and you're not valuable. Oh, no, it went away for a second because it's not true. Look, I fixed that problem. Or look, I called the airline and I fixed that. Ooh, this is actually deep. I'm like, we're great. This is like a therapy session for me. But that's where it really came from, was a desire to tell myself the story that I'm not valuable because it gave me confidence. And then I was seen differently. I wasn't seen as the stupid. Sometimes, I wasn't seen as much as the stupid, funny, Ricka, 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 like, burp, burp, burp. That's me honking my clown nose. That wasn't my narrative as much. It's still there, of course. But that wasn't my narrative. It was, oh, let Erica handle it. And it gave me, I was like, oh my gosh, my family trusts me to do this. Oh my gosh, my friends trust me to do this. And that was a high that felt so good because I always felt less than. So when I was being given, being asked questions, oh my gosh, that was such a high. And then that high turned a little yikes. It turned a little dirty dancing. You know what I mean? Because now I find myself just creating problems out of the blue so I could fix them. And that's why it's important for me to have this awareness of, hey, you are valuable. You are smart enough. You are worthy. When problems arise, I trust you can fix them, or I trust that you have a community to help support you, or I trust that you have a relationship and something bigger than yourself to lean on. But hey, E, you don't need to go creating fucking chaos like the Tasmanian devil to feel worthy. And it's so counterintuitive, you know what I mean? But that's how we got here. And so I actively have to be like, hey, boo-boo, what are you doing? You creating problems? Another thing too is, I don't know if this resonates, but there's a worthiness component like I just talked about with creating problems, but there's a worthiness component of, who am I to have it be easy? Who am I? And it's like, excuse you, who are you not to be? Who are you not to be? There's a Marianne Williamson quote I think I always read, but it's like something like, who am I to be fabulous, wonderful? I'm going to butcher the quote. Look up Marianne Williamson quote from her book. Let me get the quote. Please hold. Okay, I'm back. I even stopped the recording and Googled for you. I usually don't do that. Today's a big day. So here we go. Marianne Williamson, Our Deepest Fear. And this is from her book, A Return to Love, I believe. Here we go. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, here's what I was talking about, which I butchered. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. If God doesn't do it for you, universe, the stars, whatever works. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to manifest the glory of God / universe / whatever rocks ya. That's within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. God bless you, Marianne. But it's true. I don't know how the hell I got onto that, but it was, who am I to be fabulous, wonderful, spectacular? And who am I not to be? Who are you not to be? And I think that's why, feeling safe and letting it be easy felt so threatening. And that's why a huge part of my work is I want people to feel it's okay. It's safe to have good things. It's safe to have a life that you fucking love. It's safe to enjoy and laugh and make it easy and have pleasure instead of suffering and pain. And I know we've talked about this in many episodes, the difference between suffering and pain. I talked about it with the episode with Po Hong and also Marianne George. So go and, stalk those episodes. But there's a truth. There's a difference between pain and suffering. I am not suggesting let's, have rainbows and butterflies coming out of our ass. If it can, God bless. I will take it. But it's not that I'm suggesting love and light and spiritually bypassing. There is deep pain in this world, as we could tell, literally. Right now, there's so much going on that's deeply painful. We've had so many experiences that bring us deep fucking fall to your knees grief. But suffering is a whole other bag of worms. And we all, like I said, we all have pain, but the suffering is where kind of the addicting patterns come in. It's like, can we feel that pain? Can we be with that pain? But the suffering is more of this prolonged experience. And I know I've had points in my life where I just was addicted to the pain, which then turned into suffering. Does that make sense? So it's like I had real pain in my life that needed to be processed and be sat with and all the things. But then there was an obsession with it. And hello, anxiety, for helping me stew. But that anxiety kept me ruminating on the pain and kept me really sitting with the pain and being with the pain and identifying myself with the pain and the pain and the pain and the pain. And that pain then turned into chronic suffering. And I wanted to call, we've talked about it, like I said, in many episodes. Those two are the top two that I could think of. But wouldn't it be cool if we could have a relationship to pain where we can move it through our bodies, where we could talk through it with friends and colleagues and coaches and therapists, that we can have a special place for it where we honor it. We don't throw it away. We don't ignore it, where we really sit with it. We really be with it. We really learn about it. We learn from it. We have a relationship to it, but we don't get completely fucking taken by it. And sometimes it's appropriate to get taken by it, but not for prolonged periods of time. And I just wanted to shed light on that because I know sometimes, especially my party peeps with, anxiety sufferers as myself, a lot of my clients fall into this category is anxiety is really genius at keeping us in suffering, because anxiety, I know at least personally from my experience and some of my clients, it keeps us obsessed with the next best thing, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like anxiety is so genius because it tells us that the thing in the moment is the most important thing. And it's like you have to stop everything. Nothing's as important as this one thing. And if you think about it, and if you overanalyze, and if you really, really, really think about it, if you're really, really obsessed about it, okay, then you'll be good. But the genius thing about anxiety is that there's always going to be a next thing. In the moment, you don't think, you're like, no, you don't understand. I have to really obsess about this. I really have to focus about this. And then it's like once that thing is done or complete or we experience in real life and it didn't happen or whatever, the anxiety picks up on something else, and it's the same pattern. And that in itself is suffering, because it's finding pain, little like acute pieces of pain, and attaching a long thread line. Does that make sense? So like, like these little anxiety spurts. So pretend it's like, I'm gonna obsess about my partner. I'm gonna obsess about my job. I'm gonna obsess about my weight. It's like, it seems compartmentalized, but the anxiety is always running. And we, thread these lines through them, which keeps us in this constant state of panic and suffering and pain and anxiety and stewing and not feeling good in our bodies because that doesn't feel safe. Yes. It's a real bee. And I wanted to highlight this thing that came up that I was like, holy shit, I talk about her all the time. Mama Gina, Regina Thomashower. I worked with her for years, and she has some really awesome work about pleasure. And, I've worked with Regina for years. So I'm like, I know everything she has to say. Like, I know. And I popped into one of her free classes a few weeks ago. And I was like, I've never heard this before. And it's funny, I told a colleague and they're like, oh yeah, she says that a lot. And I'm like, I never heard it before because I don't think I was ready to hear it. And I wanted to pass this on to you. And of course, please, feel free to check out her work. She has awesome work on pleasure and turn on and feeling all the emotions. She's also a good person to feel the pain, be with the pain, but not stay stuck in suffering. But she was telling a story of, and I don't want to butcher her story again, go check out her work to get the full scoop. But I believe her father was in the psychology world, whether he was a therapist or a psychoanalyst, whatever. But the Cliff Notes is that essentially he studied problems. And she said, like, we would bond over studying problems. Like, he would come home from work and we would diagnose and study. And, I'm guilty of that too with friends and, people like, oh, let's diagnose the problems. Let's go in and diagnose. And she said we would just be obsessed with studying problems, studying what went wrong and this and that, and being in the head and diagnosing, and this means this and this means that. And she was saying, I got so tired of doing that because there's this falsehood, right? And I'm going to add this note in. There's this falsehood. If we really study our problems, all will be well. And listen, there's a place for that. Like, there is an appropriate place to study our problems, to then say, oh, okay, it's a self-awareness of, oh, okay, this makes sense. So, there is a place for studying our problems. But she was saying where it gets obsessive, where we just like study our problems and study this and diagnose this person and study our problems. And she was saying, instead of studying my problems, I was going to study my pleasure. Bam. How fucking good is that? And she, she has tools about turn on, and there's a tool that she used, and it's called pleasure research. And she'll always say, be your own pleasure researcher. And I always say that to clients, like, put on your research cap and research pleasure, research what turns you on, and what turns you on, what makes you feel alive, what makes you feel happy. And again, we've talked about this a million times in so many other episodes that it's so easy to go on autopilot, right? It's so easy to get that same turkey sandwich that you have every Tuesday with a slice of tomato, and a slice of mayo, and a little dibble, dribble, wibble of mayo. Someone help, I should not have recorded this today. But it's so easy, right? To get into the same old autopilot universe. And so what she was suggesting, and it's fucking genius, is instead of harping on my problems and what's going wrong and what can I fix, can you turn and say, what will bring me joy? What will bring me pleasure? What would make this situation more joyous instead of, oh my God, this situation fucking sucks. You know, you've been there. We've all been there. Oh my God, this situation fucking sucks. I hate this. I don't like this. I hate this. But like we run through the list. It's like, what if I turned and said, oh, I really love this? Or you know what? I don't love this, but how can I make it more pleasurable? How can I make it more joyous? And the question I ask myself every day, sometimes I don't follow through, is how can I make this more pleasurable? How can I, and I keep reminding myself since that last spiritual smackdown of, you're getting really crazy about, the human things. Come back to your joy, come back to your pleasure. How could you make this moment more pleasurable? How can you make this moment more pleasurable? You feeling crunchy? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And this work is beautiful because it's really, you're starting to really have a internal relationship with yourself and you're really starting to get to know yourself. So love that for Mama Gina. So we'll give you a little quick highlight reel. Stop studying your problems. Again, there's a time where it's appropriate, but stop fucking stewing and stimming on the problems and what's wrong and this is bad and I hate this. And there's a space for it because, of course, sometimes we're like, hey, this fucking sucks and I need to actually process it. So again, I'm not suggesting spiritual bypassing. What I am suggesting is not getting into the suffering of the problems of like, oh, I get off of how hard this is. You kinky little minx, like there's a place to actually feel the pain and feel, oh, this isn't working and I need help around this. But when we get obsessed, it's like, stop. Let's focus on what is going to bring us happiness in this moment. What's going to bring us a lot instead of ripping apart what's going wrong. I actually have some examples of people in my life that are obsessed with going down the laundry list. I will think, especially when we go away, some family members, when we go away, it's like, this is wrong. The food isn't good. The airplane isn't this, and it would drive me nuts. I'm like, let's focus on the good. Like, okay, the things we can fix. Like, let's talk about, maybe we could fix them. We could problem solve, but can we focus on what's going on well? And I want to sashay to another, while we're on Mama Gina, we'll stay on the Mama Gina trend, we'll stay on the Regina trend, is she has a tool called bragging. And I've talked about that before, bragging. Some other coaches just say celebrating. And I always have my clients brag or celebrate before we dive into the call. And why it's so important is, first of all, you realize, oh shit, some things are going okay. And oh shit, I do deserve to pat myself on the back a little bit. But Regina so famously says, so often it's the norm to like meet up with friends and bitch and just vent and oh my God, it's the natural inclination. And again, there is a space for that. If you're like, hey, can you hold space for me while I absolutely fucking rip this? Absolutely. That's why we have tools for that. That's why when I work with clients, there's tools to work through the gunk. But I'm talking about the normal inclination to go to the negative and be like, oh my God, this is so bad. Oh my God, you're never going to believe this. Oh, the gossip. I've noticed once I started doing this work of, oh my gosh, so often we gossip and talk about other people's lives. Like, first of all, who the fuck cares? But like, wish them the best. Like, why are we so invested in other people's journeys? Like, let people live. Who cares? And so that's like how we bond in this society so often, is like gossiping about other people. First of all, get in your own lane. We all need to get in our own lane. But second of all, just being like, oh, womp womp. Even if it's like done with a laugh or, oh, it's all good. Like we tend to sometimes go to the negative or to the judgmental or to the gossipy zone. And Regina is really like, what if you, suggested to friends, like, okay, we're, of course, if you have problems, feel free to air your grievances. I'm happy to hold you. But like, what if we celebrated? What if we asked friends when we, met them for coffee instead of like, what's going on? Like, what do you brag? What are you celebrating? And it feels like a little confronting because you're like, I don't want to be like that really annoying positive person. Like, I don't want to be that person. But it does change everything. It's so funny. It's like, Erica, that's such a simple tool. Like, you're giving me such a simple tool. And let me tell you this. I've been practicing this goddamn work for fucking years. Years, I tell you. And And at times I have resistance to celebrating, and I have been doing this work for years. Like I said the other week when I was in that class, she's like, hold on, I'm going to stop you and start celebrating. And I was like, I don't want to. So it sounds like, oh, what a simple, silly tool, but it's deeply profound. It's deeply powerful too. I'm going to stop and I'm going to brag and I'm going to celebrate about myself. And so often, it's funny, I when I teach clients this, the natural inclination is, oh, that's so easy, and then they usually go to gratitude of like, oh, so I'm bragging or I celebrate, my family member gave me $100. I'm like, great, that's more of a gratitude. It's like we don't even have the muscle to know what celebrating is. Like, I'm like, I want you to unabashedly, is that how you say it? Take up space and be like, I brag. And it could be the dumbest, what we think of the dumbest thing. It could be huge to I just closed this deal, to as small as I woke up this morning to my alarm. And a gratitude, like I said, is something more outside of yourself. You could be grateful for yourself, but like, I want you to brag. I want you to celebrate what is going right. And it really does counteract the problems. Because when you celebrate, you're like, yeah, there is still fucking problems. And I'm not suggesting us to, live in a world where we're just floating on a pink cloud. Would I love to sign up for that? Yes. I don't know if that's available. But it kind of counteracts the deep problems. It's like I could still have deep problems and deep pain, and I'm holding the duality of celebrating. Like, fuck, this sucks. I'm not happy with this. But you know what? I'm going to celebrate this. I'm going to celebrate this. I'm going to frame this. Does that make sense? It kind of takes the edge off a little bit. I also wanted to, because you're a pro, I wanted to give you, okay, here's the thing. You're going to pinky promise me, okay? We're going to make a vow. Okay? You hear me? A line in the sand right here, right now. You're going to celebrate every day. Do you pinky promise me? I'm going to be so mad if you don't. We're human, so sometimes we forget. But you got this. So I want you to celebrate every single day. You can hook up with, this is a really fun one. You could hook up with an accountability buddy, even a friend, and be like, hey, there's this corny thing. I listened to this podcast and this girl suggested this corny thing, but like, do you want to celebrate every day? Would you want to do that? So you could do that. That's actually a really powerful way to bond with friends. And it really brings you together in a beautiful way. I know when I started doing that with friends, I actually used to, when I first got introduced to this work, I realized how deeply me and my mom, and I'm fucking obsessed with my mom, were bonded in negativity. We were bonded over the stories, come downstairs, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. I'd have a snack, she'd have a cigarette. We talk, oh my God, we talk about, that's horrible. That's horrible. And she's a very positive person, which is so funny. Like, she's a positive human and still, oh my God, oh, that's horrible. It's horrible. So we would bond in that energy. So I was like, Nora, we're going to brag every day. She's like, oh, I'm going to fucking kill you with the shit you do. The shit you make me do. And I'm like, all right. But it really brought us together in a beautiful way. And again, she's a very positive person, but it really deeply changed our relationship. So I suggest, maybe hooking up with a friend and be like, hey, like I said, I listened to this podcast. Would you want to do this thing? It's super easy. We just send like brags, celebrations, or gratitudes to each other every day. And it's powerful. And you get to celebrate. You get to be witnessed in what's going right in your life. Because here's another thing that I want to add. So often it's like, oh my gosh, this thing happened. But like, I don't want to trigger someone. Like we found in the Marianne Williamson quote. It's like, I know that stuff isn't going great in their life. Like, I don't want to upset them. It's like, inspire them. So it's like, be seen in what's going right in your life. And people want to hear those good things. And then you want to share those good things. So I would definitely try to hook up with an accountability buddy. That's my first recommendation. And reach for a friend. You could also journal. I love to talk to myself. When I live with roommates, one of my roommates would be like, oh, there's Erica up at, 4:30, 5 in the morning. There she is talking to herself. I love to talk to myself. So I love to have accountability buddies. That really helps me. But, ooh, she loves to talk to herself. I love to dance in my room and then be like, I brag. I celebrate. I'm grateful for. So pick your poison. Pick your potion. I also wanted to throw actually into the mix. There is a great magical morning practice. So there's many different practices we could reach for. Like I said, the point is that you're celebrating every day with an accountability buddy, in a journal, to yourself, whatever. But here's part 2. There's a magical morning practice, and it's from Gala Darling, who is a bad bitch, especially around manifesting and doing it up. So she's great. I think her tag is at Gala Darling, so definitely follow her. But her little practice, I wanted to, and you could find this on her Instagram, I believe it's at Gala Darling, is her morning practice, which I'm going to read to you. And you could pause and write this down, or I'm happy to send it to you if you DM me at Insta at @WeTheLight_LLC, and I can send you this. So her suggestion is opening your voice memo app. So it could be a voice memo app, it could be your phone notes, it could be to a friend, it doesn't matter. And she talks about, I'm going to add in, because she doesn't have it here. So we'll add in, first and foremost, your celebrations, your brags, for like about 2 minutes. So like 2 minutes, run off the list of brags, celebrations, all that juice. Then you're going to transition to what you're grateful for. And you want to actually really feel, so instead of being like, I'm grateful that I had a free lunch, like really feel that gratitude within your entire body. Like, oh my gosh, like, and you want for the celebrations too. Like, holy shit, yes, I bragged this. Yes, I celebrate this. And the same for gratitudes. Like, oh my gosh, I'm really grateful for this. And then you're going to talk about, this is the juicy one. So I'm actually going to merge. So I'm taking some of her stuff and merging a little bit. But you're going to talk about, no, let's do it her way. You're going to talk about your daily desires as if it's already happened. And I always do this. So when I'm like, oh God, like I have to wake up and I'm like, I don't want to. I'm like, you know what? Today's an amazing day. I'm going to have an amazing podcast episode. I'm going to have time to go to the pool. It's going to be fabulous. I'm going to feel great. So you're going to have time to like talk about your day as if it's already happened. And here's the juicy one. Then you're going to talk about your future desires as if they've already happened. So you're going to say, I'm so happy, you start with, I'm so happy and grateful that ... So you could talk about your career, love, health, creativity, whatever matters to you, right? So that desire list, you're going to talk as if it's already happened. So, all right, what do you want? You want a really amazing relationship. You want money and savings, you want whatever, you're going to talk as if it's already happened. And like, not like lame, like you're going to get into it. You know what I mean? You're going to be a little dramatic. So you're like, oh my God, let me tell you all about, and this is where the accountability buddy's fun, especially with friends. Cause they could be like, yeah, like you could jam out with someone and you'd be like, okay, let me tell you everything. I'm so happy and grateful that my partner is so fucking amazing. They're so kind. They're so loving. And they're like, oh yeah, what else are you grateful for? You're like, I'm so happy and grateful that I have money in my savings account and I have enough money to have a beautiful down payment on a home and I have enough money every month to give to amazing charities. Like, I want you to get so dramatic and so into this. Like, I want you to feel this shit as if it's already happened, because let me tell you, it feels fucking good, but there is science behind this, that when you start to do this work, you actually start to take actions towards those things. So not only does it feel good and like, ooh, it feels fun, when you are actually in this energy, you take actions to get closer and closer to those things. So I threw a lot of tools at you. If you're like, wait, Erica, what the fuck did you just say? Just inbox me on Insta or email me info@wethelight.org and I'll send you all this stuff. It's just some juicy practices that we could start to implement, which we love. It's funny. I recently, so I'm actually, this is a first because, I usually record in my little beautiful sound booth, aka my gorgeous walk-in closet, which I stuff, but it makes the sound quality great. So I have a formula, right? And last week I knew I was going away. So I was like, all right, Erica, you need to record 2 podcast episodes so you're up to date. And my body was like, you ain't, like, you're not well. And you're going to record real shit if you try to do that now. And I was making it so hard. And I wanted to torment myself and torture myself. And my body, when I tapped in, and my intuition was like, just bring your mic to I'm in Florida. And I'm actually, how cool is this, right? Because I normally am confined in my little recording room. And now I'm looking at beautiful palm trees and it's gorgeous. And I was making myself wrong. Like, just fucking do it. Just do it. And my body was like, no, pack your mic and bring it to Florida. And I share that because my impulse, like I said, is to make it hard. And my body was like, we can make this really easy, actually. Like, it's possible. Like, you just plug it up and you can look at the palm trees as you talk about things. And so my question to you is, how can you make things easier? How can you make your life easier? How can you make decisions easier? I remember, this is a silly example, but I remember when I was working with Julia Wells, another amazing human to stalk and get into their programs and, get into her world, especially if you're a business person, is the idea of making it easier. And I noticed first of all, how hard I made everything, which we talked about with the above, but also like, I just would drive myself crazy. Like, I noticed the patterns of like creating chaos in my schedule. Again, a silly example, but I was like, I just would do things so ass backwards. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the grocery store. Then I'm going to come home. Then I'm going to go to the library. Then I'm going to come home. Then I'm going to go to the store. Then I'm going to come home. Like, I'm like, well, I just was creating tension. And again, silly example, but I was like, what if, crazy thought, Erica, what if when you leave the house, you do all of the activities at once? Like, it sounds so stupid, and again, this is a very small scale, quote unquote problem. But I was like, and even like communication with a partner, I was noticing I was picking apart things to make it hard and to make it more difficult. It's like, what if I made this easier? So my suggestion to you is, how can we look at our lives and look, oh, there's a space to make more ease here. There's a space to make this easier. And that could apply to so many different things. That could be to relationships, or that is if you have the resources to delegate, God bless. That's a great way to make things easier. Another way to make things easier is speaking your truth. I just wanted to, again, that's a whole episode we could talk about, but I wanted to throw that into consideration. Like, what areas of your life are you making really hard? Are you making really charred? Like a charred salmon. Is charred a word? I think it is. But like, where are we making things really difficult and problematic? Like, how can we make things a little bit easier? Sorry, I got distracted. Again, this is why I think I'm probably best recording in a say a phone booth, because there's no distractions. I could just fucking go for it. But I just looked out and I think a rocket was shot. I'm not kidding. I am in Florida. I'm like, I see something that just went straight up. Okay, hi, my name is Erica, and I'm easily distracted, which is why I record in a closet, because I'm like, ooh, look at the palm trees sway. But hey, I'm making it easier, right? So I do want you to find ways to, where am I making this complicated? Where am I making this complicated? And here's a great balm, BALM, is pleasure. And we know we've talked about this 107 times, but when you infuse pleasure, you make things easier. So I know I suggested asking yourself, how can I make this moment more pleasurable? How can I make this moment a little bit more easy? How can I make this moment a little bit more soft? And something I would suggest is schedule, like, obviously keep asking yourself these things, but also scheduling pleasure breaks, right? Because I know for me, especially for the workday, I would make it really, really hard. I would hustle and but like, what would it feel like if every day I scheduled 5 minutes for my pleasure, whether it's dancing or drinking a cup of tea uninterrupted? Scheduling out pleasure and scheduling out ease. And again, I feel so like sticky about it, because I want to really deep dive with you on letting it be easy. I think that's we'll probably have to throw that into a whole episode of letting it be easy. But let's start with that. Let's start with the intention of, what would I be like, or what would my life look like if I let it be easy? And let me ask you to ask yourself, what areas of your life are you making hard? And how can we add a little bit more ease? I don't need you, again, floating on a raft. Like, if there's some things that are actually just very complicated, I'm not asking you to bypass. But how can we make it 1% more easy? How can we make it 1% more safe and pleasurable and not horrendous? Does that make sense? How can we make it 1% more playful instead of it being a contraction and tough and how can we make ourselves breathe a little bit more? So I want you to do a scan, and you're welcome to pause this, but I want you to do a scan of your life. And you could chunk it out like, finances, Lord. Okay. Hi. How am I making my finances hard? How am I making my relationship to money hard? We could talk about that for days. How am I making my relationship to love hard? How am I just go down the list of things that we're making hard and say, okay, no problem, no judgment towards myself. How can I make this a little bit easier? How can I make this a little bit more playful? How can I make this a little bit more soft? Does that sound cool? We're going to talk more about that, but I want us to start with where in my life am I making shit really fucking hard? And how can I soften? I wanted to, this is a little bit of a sidebar, but very much a sidebar, but it was about problems, and I brag. I'm not allowed to talk about it too much, that NDA life. But I've been asked to do a project and to collaborate on a project. And, they're like, I love you. Like, you're great. I'm like, thank you. It's true. But they were like, but what problems do you solve? And it took me a minute because I feel like the work that I co-create with my clients is so rich and truly a foundational way to live. We talk about pleasure and moving through emotions and, okay, what areas of your life are you making hard and how can we make it easier and how can we walk towards your desires? Like, I'm like, we solve 4,000 problems, but we also, like, for me, it's like instilling a new lifestyle in. So it took me back for a moment, and then I was like, all right, I actually need to do this assignment. Like, she's like, I need you to, what's that word? Like micro engineer in a way, or engineer backwards, and write out all the problems that you solve for your clients. So I started to type out a list, and first of all, reinforce my gratitude for this fucking amazing work, these amazing clients. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many problems I solve. And I wanted to read some of them to you, especially if you're like, I want to work with you, but what the fuck do you do? So some of the problems that I help with, and also is first and foremost, as we talked about here today, trying to take the problems out, not trying to take the problems out, working with the problems and having a relationship with pain versus suffering. So I have to throw that one into the mix because we talked about that today. So yes, having a relationship to pain, working through pain, but not getting wrapped up into suffering. Helping folks that suffer, especially from anxiety, to have a deep relationship, to self-soothe, to ground. Holding clients to feel safe and confident around their sexuality, dating, love, relationships, going from the brain to the body. We could talk about that for hours. Creating a real deep relationship to self-love versus like the Instagrammable, like hashtag love yourself. And you're like, what the fuck does that mean? I actually help you really do that. Empowering clients to find and know all sides of themselves, to learn from their shadow and to learn to lead from their highest self. So having a relationship to all the pieces of us, because that's so important. Letting go, here we go. Letting go of a life they hated or they hate and create something joyous, pleasurable, easy and flowing. Reclaiming their aliveness, joy, and turn on. Dating from a place of joy, this is whether you're partnered or not, versus fear and overwhelm. Shifting a mindset full of negativity, fear, panic, pain to one that feels nourishing, exciting, inspiring. Helping clients thaw out any emotional and physical numbness to come into aliveness. That's such a good one. Taking clients from a crunchy, we love the crunch, crunchy dry place to a life filled with play and pleasure. Fuck yeah. Teaching clients to use play and pleasure as a healing balm in their life. Moving through shame and any blocks clients may hold around their sexuality to transmute it into a sacred relationship. And letting go of people pleasing, playing small, and not owning their power, because we know there's so much juice in owning their power. And I honestly could type out 4,000 more, but I was like, as I was starting to think about it, I was like, I solve so many problems, as you know, because I love to solve problems. And that's the funny thing. I kind of in the beginning of the episode talked about, me solving problems started out as something really positive, right? Because it helped me become confident and be like, you are worthy, E. You are valuable, E. And then it turned a little toxic, and that's okay. I'm like, don't you know that you're toxic? Problem solving. And now we're like, what's really cool is that I could let go of the toxicity around that relationship, around fixing problems, and I could help others hold themselves. Because here's the thing I see in this society, especially with coaching, is we really want to fix. We really want to fix. We really want to fix. You're not fucking broken. You don't need to be fixed. Do you want to be held? Do you want to be seen? Do you want to maybe change and transform? Fuck yeah. I'm down for that. I'm down to hold you and cheer you on to transform and change and chasse and like a butterfly, you know what I mean? Like shed what's not serving and stepping into a life you love. Hell to the yeah. But the energy of fixing and gluing together and I'm broken, so I need to fix, I don't support that. And I'm really grateful that my relationship to problem solving, and we're always evolving, but where I'm at now is a more healthy narrative. Again, it started as a good thing. It started as a thing, to support me. Got a little crazy town. But I'm grateful now that I can hold people deeply so that they can learn to hold themselves. And they could trust themselves that when problems do come up, they can handle them, but that they don't need to create problems, that they don't need to create chaos, that they're not a problem. I think that's the big one. Yes, we have problems in our lives, and let's get the tools to work through them, to sashay through them. But we, as a human, are not a fucking problem. We, as a human, are not broken or less than. We're whole, we're full, we're complete. We just want to step into an energy that's something better, that feels better, that is more supportive and easy and joyous. So I'm really grateful. It's kind of funny, the full circle moment of I'm really grateful how my relationship to problems shifted over the years. I thought I was a problem. You know what I mean? I thought I was broken. I thought, oh, I'm stupid, so that means something's wrong with me. I'm a problem. And by fixing those problems, I thought it would give me confidence. But I think what I really was chasing is if I fix so many problems, then I won't be a problem anymore. Like I got my badge of honor, right? Like I fixed so many problems. Now I'm not a problem. And I'm grateful, like I said, that I've shifted out of that. And now I can hold people to do the same, that you're not a fucking problem. You're worthy. You're amazing. And problems are outside of ourselves. We are not the problem. And like I said, going back to the quote unquote problems I fix, isn't it interesting that those were all things outside of ourselves, right? Those were all like behaviors or desires, totally shiftable. Nothing to do about your core essence of human. Because like I said, you're already whole, you're already perfect, you're already worthy. These are just things outside of ourselves that we'd love to shift. And I could honestly type and, when I was typing that list, type and talk 7,000 more quote unquote problems outside of ourselves that I do help solve. But above all, I do believe that my deepest offering is holding people and seeing them as whole, seeing them as powerful. I don't see my clients as problems or, you're broken and you need healing. Fuck no. I see these amazing humans as full humans, and I'm just reminding them, hey, you're a full human. You got this. I'm holding you through this. Let's do the damn thing. And it's empowering clients to learn how to hold themselves through it all, through the pain, right? Through the problems. Like, how can you hold yourself through the problems? And having them leave with endless tools and principles to live a life that really fucking turns them on and gives them joy and happiness. And if you know me, you know one of my deepest desires is to have this work accessible for all, which is why I have a shit ton of free resources. I just always pump out free resources. So really quickly, if you are interested in free resources, I'll probably talk about this at the end, but definitely go to the website, www.wethelight.org. You obviously have the podcast, the blog. I have a free ebook. Go get those free resources. And then you have my higher price point offering, which is my one-on-one coaching, where we really, oh my God, let me tell you, it's some juicy shit. Like, it is transformational work. It is deeply transformational work. You know why? Because people remember that they're fucking whole. People remember that they're worthy. People remember, oh, it's a problem. I am not the problem, but I can fix this problem because I remember that I'm powerful and I'm smart and I'm good enough. So god damn, is that work fucking powerful. And I'm obsessed with doing that work. But you know the deal. Sometimes people are like, I can't commit to that. Or what does that entail? Which is why I made, here it is, a middle ground offering. I wanted to make something super easy, something super accessible for you. So I made a really affordable, no-brainer offer that you're not like, should I do this? Super quick, easy, affordable, and fucking potent as hell. It's a 90-minute ignite, here we go, ignite your passion, pleasure, and purpose power call. I mean, excuse me, pleasure, purpose, power, hell yeah, I want all of those P's. I almost made a joke. I want all of them. And in this call, we really go in and we do a session. We talk to, empowered pieces of you. We comb through desires. We really make a plan. It's like it really is an ignition. That's why it's called Ignite, because it's like, it shakes off what we want to shed. It shakes off all the shit. And we really go to what you want to create, what you want to step into. Like, okay, we're letting go of the past and we're walking and we're stepping into what we want to move towards. We comb through all this stuff, like I talked about. We comb through anything that's keeping you stuck. We shift to what you're desiring. And you're going to leave this session feeling excited, jazzed, inspired, ignited, with plenty of tools and tips. So not only will we feel like, yes, I feel ignited, you'll also have tips and tools that you can start to apply ASAP. It's not like, that was a good session, twiddling my fingers, now what? It actually gives you things that you could work on. And this session is great for rejuvenation and getting back on track to where you want to be. And it's also really why I created it. It's a fabulous tasting of what it would be like to work one-on-one with me. We love a Tizer moment. Get the potato skins, get the calamari, get the mozzarella, get all the appetizers. So this is basically an appetizer session with me where you really get in, we shake some stuff. It's 90 minutes. It's potent as hell. And then, of course, if we're matched to work together, God bless. Let's keep the party going. If not, God bless. You still will leave with so much. So book that session. It's my medium size offering. It's an awesome. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, it's only $65 and it's fucking 90 minutes. This is, especially compared to other coaches and other programs, a very affordable offer because you know me, I put my heart and soul in it. You're going to get so much juice from this session. So go book that. $65 and you get literally so much coaching and tips. And the great news is we keep in touch. So if you ever need anything after, you are jam-packed with so much goodness. It's such a delight. It makes me shake in excitement. And you can get that on my website, which we talked about. So www.wethelight.org. Definitely hit up the website to get the free stuff, to get the medium offering. Or if you're like, Erica, I'm ready to dive into the VIP one-on-one coaching, which hell yeah, that will change your life. Be sure to, you could message me. We could, you could book a call about working together. So there's many options to get into the realm. But I want to leave you today to go live juicy, turned on. And today, like I said, I invite you to make it easy. Where can you scan and where can you find ways to make it easier, to make it simpler? How can you have a relationship to more ease, fun, and joy? You're worthy of pleasure. You're worthy of goodness. You're worthy of having a life. Not that's okay. That's good. A life that you fucking love. I love you. I'm proud of you. Now remember, we talked about a few things. We pinky promised to celebrate. We pinky promised to notice what's going right. We pinky promised to talk about your desires and your gratitudes. So go do those things. I'm so proud of you. I love you. And let's go and create a life we fucking love. Because remember, life is so much brighter when we shine. I love you. Thank you. Seriously, thank you so much for joining me on today's episode and on this podcast journey. And if you loved what we talked about today and you know another human who could definitely benefit from what was discussed, I would so appreciate if you would go ahead and share this podcast with them. Don't forget, hit subscribe or follow so you never ever miss an episode. And the great news is you can always follow me, my work, my blog, my podcast on my website at www.wethelight.org. And hey, remember, life is so much brighter when we shine. I'll see you next time.